it is never too early.
Never.
College football regular season is over. Field has watched the tape. He's collected intel from the teams to give us this beauty. Okay, quick disclaimer, by the way, the order was determined by the reverse order of the current standings with tiebreakers implemented by ESPN Research. So, Field, take us through the top 5.
Let's go to the very top here, Laura, and a big apple trade between the two teams that called New York City home, the Jets and the Giants. The Jets move up from number 7 to number 1. The Giants, of course, have their quarterback in Jackson Dart. The Jets are in desperate need of their quarterback, so they move up to take Fernando Mendoza, the presumptive Heisman Trophy winner this upcoming Saturday night, the quarterback of the number 1 team in the country. Excellent build, terrific accuracy, and just gargantuan numbers this past season. 33 passing touchdowns. Dante Moore, number 2, goes to the Las Vegas Raiders. They might need a quarterback about as badly as the Jets. They don't have all that extra draft capital that New York does from both the Sauce Gardner and the Quinnen Williams trades. Moore, a very good thrower down the field, has very creative arm angles he can tap into as well. Not this super dynamic athlete, but a good athlete for the quarterback position. Just 206 pounds and 17 career starts so far, but a guy who's been soaring up boards. Picks 3 through 5. They include, well, a lot of Ohio State guys. What else is new? Arvell Reese, who might be the safest player in the draft. He has blossomed this year. 6.5 sacks. Carnell Tate, because you have to have an Ohio State wide receiver in the first round of your mock draft every single year. And CeCe Mauigoa, his younger brother, was drafted by the Jets in the 5th round last year. Probably the most powerful, nastiest offensive lineman in the draft. This would, in this circumstance, make the Saints taking an offensive tackle in 3 straight first rounds. If they did this, Tali Fuaga probably kicks down to right guard. I would like to find the NFL team who has a bad offensive line and a good offense. If you don't have a good offensive line, you're going to struggle.
Yeah, those are. It's always funny when we're in that green room at the draft field. We're like, man, there's a run on these linemen, and people are like, oh, where are all the quarterbacks? Where are all the big-time playmakers?
They're on the ground because they don't have offensive linemen to protect them is where they are.
O-line, D-line, that's how you build your team. Okay, Graz, the Browns and Saints both passing on a quarterback. I realize it's early, but those teams, have they seen enough from Tyler Shough and Shedeur Sanders to move forward with them?
Well, no, but they could. And I think that's probably, correct me if I'm wrong, Phil, but that's part of the calculus here, along with the idea that, it doesn't look like there's going to be, it's like a draft where we're going to have 5 quarterbacks taken in the first half. Right. So the question becomes, have you seen enough from Shedeur Sanders or Tyler Shough that you're comfortable not feel like you have to get a quarterback in the first round, to reach for a guy that you don't necessarily believe in? If these guys end up there and they love Fernando Mendoza, then it could be, see you Shedeur, see you Tyler.
Yeah.
But right now, I think what we're looking at is audition time in New Orleans and Cleveland and see where you fit into the picture when it comes time for us to address that position next offseason.
And when you're evaluating young quarterbacks, it's about trajectory, right? These are guys that when you watch Shough, when you watch Shedeur, you're seeing them get better rapidly over the last few weeks. And if that continues throughout the remainder of the season in a hard part with inclement weather in Cleveland, the way Shough was able to have a comeback win against the Buccaneers, like those things that matter to an organization to say, there's at least enough here to build on where we can go fill one of these other holes.
Yeah, Phil, you have one more quarterback going in the first round. Fill us in on that one.
Yeah, I'm starting to get skeptical that Ty Simpson from Alabama will even declare for this year's draft class, but I have him going 31st overall to the Los Angeles. I also would pick 9th in this scenario because of that trade last year with the Falcons. Simpson has seen his stock drop over the past probably month or so. This past week against Georgia, kind of got eaten alive by that excellent Georgia defense. He's a very accurate passer when he has a chance to set his feet. He does have a hose as well when he can put his body weight into it. Not a gigantic build quarterback, and just 1 year of experience. He waited his time at Alabama. It would not surprise people, at least right now, if he went back to Alabama for one more season, absent that team really turning it on offensively in the college football playoff. And they happen to play Oklahoma in the first round, who's right there with Georgia and Ohio State for the best defense in college football.
Our Mason Thomas is like, hey, Ty Simpson, we may convince you to stay another year because you may not want to go out after the tape. But either way, Ty Simpson is capable, and Kirby Smart just told me this last week, of getting in such a rhythm that he can be a force to be reckoned with. It just hasn't happened in a while. Either way, we'll see. Okay, new on NFL Live. This is interesting, you guys. From Adam, the NFL notified teams today that it will shorten the time between picks in the first round of the draft from 10 to 8 minutes. Starting with that 2026 draft in Pittsburgh, this will shorten the length of the first round, which had been finishing around 11:45 p.m. Eastern. Teams were on board with this, but that does take 2 minutes off the clock when it comes to making their picks. But Field, you and I, and everybody else covering the draft, we might be in bed a little earlier.
Laura? This is beautiful news right here.
I like that.
As somebody who usually goes to bed on a non-game night at about 9:30.
See what we can do as offense.
Yeah, no team has run man defense more often than the Broncos' staunch defensive unit this season. They're in man on 61% of opponents' dropbacks. However, they'll face Jordan Love on Sunday, who's shredded man defenses this season. A league best 89 total QBR against man defense, 18 touchdowns, only 2 picks in those scenarios. So, Hawk, a big part of Love's success has been developing that chemistry with Christian Watson. We've talked a lot about it on this show, which I love. What have you seen from him?
I've seen a #1 receiver. I mean, last week we talked about Christian Watson, and Dan asked if he was in that same category as Julio Jones and Andre Johnson. I looked at him like he was crazy, and I still feel that way. But
Well, he is crazy.
when you watch him, though, you can see the development in Christian Watson's game. He's not just a down-the-field threat, and he's developed a trust with Jordan Love. Here you're going to have a spot route. You see him wrap the linebacker, find the space in the defense, but it allows Jordan Love to stay on time and dot him with the throw to Moose Chains. Next, you're going to see versus cover 0, so you're going to have pressure. He has to cross space here with speed and get his head around because he's the only outlet for Jordan Love. Now, there's not pressure, but watch how he crosses space so quickly. Intermediate, contested catch, touchdown. Lastly, you're going to have a slant out of the slot here. He is going to attack leverage on this DB. He is going to win. When I want #1 receivers, I want guys that can win down the field and win in short area quickness. And he creates 35 yards of rack. So now you have a 42-yard touchdown pass on a 6-yard throw. That's what Christian Watson has brought to the offense. And it's why you're seeing Jordan Love play with so much comfort and actually closer to the potential that we've seen him do in spots.
Last week when we were previewing the Packers offense against the Bears defense, I was talking about how the key was it was going to be a kitchen sink game from Dennis Allen, the Bears defensive coordinator, because they don't have the dudes up front to just pure pass rush and make an opposing quarterback uncomfortable. The Broncos do. They don't lead the NFL in sacks. They lead the NFL in sacks by a mile. If you're going to win against this Packers team, though, you better do it and make Jordan Love uncomfortable. They have 10 games this year in which they have either won or tied to the Green Bay Packers. Jordan Love has been sacked a total of 9 times in those games. 21 passing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. And their 3 losses against good teams and good defenses, 9 sacks taken, so the same number of those 3 losses as the 10 non-losses, and just 1 passing touchdown and 2 picks. Any defense that can make life uncomfortable for Jordan Love, it is this Denver Broncos defense. They have been the best pass rush in the league. Again, not by a little bit, not by a lot, but by a mile this season.
They have 55. They have 55 sacks.
55.
It's more than 4 a game. You're talking about he's been sacked 3 times a game in their losses. Yeah. So kind of a bad combination there. I'd be curious to see how much of that that QBR against man coverage was against teams that have 4 sacks a game.
Right.
I think that makes it difficult. I had a Broncos game earlier this year. Talked to some of their defensive players about pursuing the sack record. It's definitely something they're aware of and eager to get. Obviously, they say all the right things about, 1 game at a time, et cetera. But they really believe that the variety they offer with the number of different guys and the ways they can rush and the way their guys on the back end cover, especially now that Patrick Surtain is back, that sets them up to handle whatever is thrown at them. Vance Joseph, I think their defensive coordinator, I think is a guy whose name we're going to start hearing next month when it comes to head coaching candidates and interviews and stuff like that. So that Broncos defense has been on point all year, and I would say probably the toughest that the Packers have seen so far.
Yeah, you mentioned that sack record. They're on pace for 71 sacks this season, 1 shy of the NFL record set by
84 Bears.
The 84 Bears. Thank you, Graz. I knew he would know.
Was it 85?
No,
84 Bears got him.
84 had
Wow.
more. Yeah.
No kidding.
Interesting enough, they were all
Buddy
great,
Ryan.
though.
Yes. Buddy Ryan, baby. Yeah.
Okay, back to some top stories with Adam Schefter. Adam, what is the latest on CeeDee Lamb?
Well, Laura, he was back at practice today. He still is not in concussion protocol, but the fact that he was back at practice is certainly an encouraging sign for his availability for Sunday's game against the Vikings. As of right now, still in the protocol. He'll have to clear through protocol. We'll see if he can do that. That would be the step he needs to play Sunday. Meanwhile, T. Higgins, who's in concussion protocol as well, was limited in practice today. He banged his head on multiple occasions last week against the Bills, reported symptoms Sunday night, was placed into protocol on Monday. We'll see whether he can clear. Hard to imagine he would play Sunday against Baltimore, but who knows? Meanwhile, the Indianapolis Colts a short time ago listed Riley Leonard as a full participant in practice today, giving him a chance to play Sunday. But Phillip Rivers also was out there today, and he has a chance to play Sunday. I think the Colts